is the important thing here, because some of you are going to think you're ready when you're not. We're going to move on to the next step, which is removing the fascia. And that's going to involve a little bit more skill than what you were doing on the skin. Just getting a little bit more of this off here before we get started. All right, so once you start working on the fascia, we're exposing muscle. That means you should have an illustration of the muscle you're working with as a guide as you go through this. And we're going to start up here on the chest. Now, what you're going to do is work on one side without stopping. When that side's done, then you'll move to the other side. All right? Initially, what we want to do is have both sides done superficially. But the reality is you're going to screw up. You're new at this. You've never done it before. That's what your defense attorney said. So you're going to make mistakes. That's simple. So if you do this side first, then we move over here. By the time you get over here, you've learned from the mistakes you made here. Right? That's the idea anyways. And so you'll have both sides showing the superficial muscles, and then we're going to go deep on one side. And when we go deep, we're going to cut through the superficial muscles. So you look at the side that you started on where you made your mistakes and go, okay, I'm going to go deep through here. And the other side that you learn not to make mistakes on will look really nice. So that's why you take that approach. You do not want to start working on this side, make a mistake and go over here, and then make a mistake and go back, because then both sides are going to be horrible. All right? So when we're going to work between the collar and right where the pectoral muscle group ends, we're going to stay in a rectangle right along here. We're not going to get on the arm. We're not going to get into the armpit. We're not going to get onto the sides where you can't see where you're going. So this is why you had to learn the technique. If you come in here, you're going to come in very, very shallow before. And you have to be really careful in looking as you do this. This animal's a little closer than some of yours will be. You're going to come in really nice and shallow here. Yeah, this one's really, actually I think you got a bit of the fascia off already when you went in. There it is. There's the fascia right there. And remember, what we're doing is removing the connective tissue sheath from top of the muscle. Now you can see it. Oops. There it is. So there's the fascia. You can see how really thin that is. And below it, that's actually the muscle right there. And that's why we're practicing this technique on the skin first. So you have it down for this, which is much, much more challenging. And you have to keep your forcep hand moving as you go. Here we go. Now, I'm not going to do this whole thing for him, because where would the fun be in that? Right now I'm at the cutaneous muscle. I can see I'm lifting it up, so I'm going to put it back down. Later on we're going to remove that cutaneous muscle. But right now you can't see where cutaneous muscle ends and the muscle you need begins, so you don't want to just lop through everything because you lose stuff by mistake. You just go back and forth just like that. And then of course we can begin to see some of the muscle under here. We can actually see a little bit. There's that piece of cutaneous muscle right there. Here we can actually begin to see the border. There's our pectoralis profundus versus superficialis, and we'll get that cleaned up a little better. You'll be able to see those borders much nicer. All right, so that's the next step. Keep on skinning. Most of you aren't ready to move there yet. Check with us before you do. You're going to be glad you spent time practicing this technique before you get into that stuff.